Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Season 13 premiere of Laker Connections. I'm your host, Aaron Valentino.
And I'm Brian Rudman.
We are excited to bring you the 13th season of Laker Connections and to bring you all the latest news, highlights, and analysis from all things Laker sports.
Every week to start the show, Aaron and I will break down the highlights from the past week in Laker sports, bringing you up to date on the latest scores, stats, and stars from the past week. So without further ado, this week in Laker sports.
This week, the Oswego State soccer team took on SUNYAC rival and nationally ranked Cortland Red Dragons. This game resulted in a 1-1 tie with the lone Laker goal coming from Steven Rojas. With the draw, the Lakers moved to 2-0-1 in the conference and in conference play and are tied for third in the SUNYAC. So Brian, what was the reason the Lakers were able to hang with this ranked Cortland team?
Well, it all starts with defense, and that's really been the key for this team the entire season. They've been really good defensively, and it all starts with Caleb Munsky in the middle of that defense. He's a center defenseman. He was great in this game. Cortland controlled the possession most of the game, moving the ball down the field, but it was the defense that kept them out of the box. Not a lot of shots got to Brian Tara. Cortland only had 7 shots on goal the entire game. So Oswego really did a great job of keeping Cortland out of the box, keeping the ball away from Brian Tara, and that was the key. And then when they got their offensive opportunities, they struck quick. You look at Oswego's lone goal, like you said, from Steven Rojas, it came 34 seconds into the second half. So they struck quickly when they had their opportunities.
And, you know, Brian, we talked so much about defense, and Brian Tara. He's been on a tear, if you know what I'm saying. He might even have a chance to make first team All-SUNYAC, in my opinion, with the way he's been playing. But one thing I noticed about this game that I thought was interesting, Cortland did dominate in shots, 20-10. Lakers had the same amount of shots on goal with them at 7. So this Laker offense was able to keep pace with this ranked Cortland defense, and that's something to keep in mind coming down the stretch.
Absolutely. Very efficient getting the ball on net when they had their opportunities. And like I said before, Oswego did a great job keeping the ball away from Brian Tara. Cortland tried to cross the ball into the box many times, and that Oswego defense just turned them away over and over. Now moving on to the volleyball courts, as it's been a productive week for the Oswego State volleyball team. The Lakers went 2-1 in their 3 games, beating SUNYAC foe Oneonta 3-2 on Saturday, and beating Nazareth College in a 3-0 sweep yesterday, while only falling to SUNY New Paltz 3-1 last Friday night. So, Aaron, is this the start of a hot streak for this Oswego team?
I'll tell you what, Brian, this is a very good Lakers team. They're 14-6 overall. You know, they're 1-2 in the conference right now, and they went 2-1 this weekend. Honestly, the Lakers feel like they should have went 3-0 that weekend, and I do too. Just looking at some stats here, in points per set, Oswego 15.2, New Paltz 14.4, and in kills per set, New Paltz leads that at 10.95, Oswego 10.89. These are 2 very similar teams. Oswego came out, they set the tone, they won the first set, and then they gave away those last 3 sets, they feel like. So, you know, obviously you want to win a conference game, throw that one away, come back the next day against Oneonta, and they did. Let me tell you something. The Lakers are 12-1. 12-1 when they win the first sets of their wins. That one loss coming against New Paltz. So they came back, they set the tone early, they won that set against the first set against Oneonta. They were down 2-1. They came back strong. Those last 2 sets, they won 40-23 against Oneonta and got that conference win. And then Nazareth, they swept them 3-0. That's just a confidence booster for the Lakers.
Yeah, like you said, these 2 last games have been huge confidence boosts, and it's why I believe that they can start rolling coming up in this week. But like you said, a deflating loss against New Paltz on Friday to come back, win in 5 sets, their first game that they've gone to 5 sets this entire year, and a big win against Oneonta, and then just sweeping Nazareth. Huge confidence boost for the team. It's really good luck for Oswego State volleyball.
Oswego State volleyball team on the up and up. But on Tuesday now, switching to field hockey, the field hockey team faced Sage University Alligators. The Lakers scored 2 goals in the final 2 quarters of play just to lose a heartbreaker in overtime. Oswego is now 3-7 overall in the season and 5th in the SUNYAC with a 1-2 record in conference play. So, Brian, what has been the problem this season, you know, for the Lakers field hockey team?
Well, if you don't score, you can't win, and that's true in any sport. So for this field hockey team right now, they're only scoring 2.6 goals per game, but you got to take into account 12 of those were in a 12-0 win over Wells College, and 6 of them were in a 6-1 victory over Morrisville State. So if you take out those 18 goals, they've only scored 8 goals the rest of the season. in their eight other games, which means they're only scoring a goal per game. So if you're only putting up 1 goal per game, it means that your defense has to be almost perfect the rest of the way, and that's really just too much to ask for this Oswego team. So they just haven't gotten anything going on the offensive side, and that's really where their problems have started.
I mean, this game, I feel like they looked a lot better. You know, this is not a great Sage team. They're 6-6 on the season, but they're certainly played a lot better than Oswego. They were down 2-0. They came back. They tied it up. They never buckled. They never gave this game away. They came out. They scored, and unfortunately, they lost this game. But non-conference game, shake it off. Play with the same mentality next game, and maybe you can squeak out a win.
You're right. It was a good look for Oswego, but at the end of the day, it's got to be a little bit deflating because they came from behind, they tied it up just to lose it in overtime. That's just, you never want to do that. It was a game, especially for this team who hasn't found much success this season. When you're in a game like this and you can't find a way to lose, it doesn't go well. We're going to take a quick break, but be sure to stick around because coming up, we'll take a look at the week ahead in Laker sports. You're watching Laker Connections on WTOP 10. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Laker Connections. It's now time for the week ahead. Brian and I will talk about the Lakers' key matchups this coming week and what to look for in these games. Brian, let's start with some men's soccer.
All right, starting out on the Laker turf, as it will be the men's soccer team hosting yet another nationally ranked team this Friday in the Oneonta Red Dragons. The Lakers will look to stay unbeaten in the SUNYAC and will also look to break a 21-game losing streak against the Red Dragons. So, Aaron, what does Oswego need to do to continue their success against ranked opponents?
Let's be honest with ourselves here. It's Brian Terra in this defense. We talked about it earlier. We're going to be talking about it the rest of the year. Brian Terra is on a tear right now. You look at these numbers, goals against average, .780. I think we're going to get these numbers on the screen in just a second. He's got 45 saves. He's got 5 clean sheets. That leads the SUNYAC by far. And as far as this matchup goes for Oswego, Oneonta's 10. It's a tough matchup for them. Oneonta's 10-1 overall, first in the SUNYAC, and they're scoring goals, 2.45 goals per game compared to Oswego's 2, and letting in .63 goals per game. That's a more elite defense than this Oswego defense that we talk about so much. This is going to be a really grinded out game. Honestly, I could see this game being 0-0 going into overtime. The Lakers just have to attack when they have the ball, try and keep possession the entire game. Just keep up defensively and attack, attack, attack.
You know what? Honestly, this Oswego team needs to do exactly what they did against Cortland last week. They're not going to control the possession against this team. They're going to have to rely on that defense and Brian Terra because he has been amazing this entire year. Like you said, leads the SUNYAC in clean sheets. He's also got 45 saves on the season. He's been great. So this team really just needs to rely on their defense just like they did. If Oneonta controls the possession of the game, fine. I don't care. They just got to keep doing what they're doing, play good defense, and you'll find a way to be successful.
Keep it up, Brian Terra and the Lakers defense. This weekend, the Lakers volleyball team will try to grab 2 conference wins against the Plattsburgh Cardinals and the Potsdam Bears. Going into this weekend, the Lakers are 1-2 in conference play and are 6th in the SUNYAC. The Cardinals and the Bears come into this weekend behind Oswego in the SUNYAC standings. So, Brian, can the Lakers make a jump in the standings this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. You look at these SUNYAC standings, and Oswego's where they want to be. They're in the middle of the pack right now, and they're trending upwards. They got 2 matchups against teams in Plattsburgh and Potsdam. Plattsburgh hasn't won a single set in SUNYAC play yet, which means it's a good sign for the Lakers going into the weekend. And Potsdam is a team who hasn't performed up to what Oswego has done so far this year. So Oswego's looking in a really good position moving into this weekend. And you look at the teams ahead of them, and they're in a great position because the teams ahead of them, New Paltz and Oneonta, are going to play both going to play Brockport and Geneseo, 2 of the top 3 teams in the conference. Both those teams are very strong. So it means that there's a potential for the 2 teams ahead of Oswego to fall this weekend and for Oswego to jump up potentially 2 spots in the standings, which would be huge. It'll put them in a great position as they make that final playoff push.
I think the big key for them in these 2 matchups is, don't play down to these opponents. Plattsburgh hasn't won a set in SUNYAC play this year. They are 12-1 when they win the first sets of those games. That one loss coming to New Paltz this past weekend. Don't go out there, set the tone early, and play consistent volleyball all the way through. This is a good Lakers team, and I think they can pull away and move up in the SUNYAC standings this weekend.
Yeah, like you said, just go out, play your game. Don't play down to these opponents. That's how you get in trouble. When you play down to opponents, it never goes well for the team who's supposed to win. Moving now to women's soccer, as the Lakers will take to the road this weekend for matchups with Oneonta and New Paltz. Coming into the weekend, Oswego is winless in the SUNYAC and will look to grab their first victory against either the Red Dragons or the Hawks. So, Aaron, what's it going to take for Oswego to get their first win in the SUNYAC this weekend?
Well, the Oswego women's soccer team has really struggled so far this year. Let's focus on this New Paltz game for a second. The Lakers really have an opportunity here to get their first SUNYAC win. The Hawks are 0-2-1 in the conference. New Paltz is letting in almost 2 goals per game. That's 7th in the SUNYAC. That's not the greatest. And they have the least amount of saves in the conference at 47. Oswego's just got to tighten some things up this weekend. You know, play hard, tighten things up, and they can go out and get their first SUNYAC game. They got to start scoring, though. I mean, they're scoring less than a goal per game right now at .91. Start scoring, attack when they have the ball, tighten up on defense, and if they go down in this game, you can't get discouraged. You can't, just roll over and die. You have to keep playing hard, keep fighting the entire game, and move on and try and get this first SUNYAC win.
Yeah, well, like you said, neither of these teams, Oswego or New Paltz, really have had a great season so far. So for Oswego, it's got to start in the back. You have some good experience in Karina Chambers and Grace Mueller, so they have to come up big, help that defense, and really just play sound defense, and that's how they're going to be able to win this game. We're going to take a short break, but don't change the channel, because after the break, Aaron and I will give you our takeaways from the Oswego State Hockey Media Day. We'll be right back.
Disaster tips.
And welcome back to Laker Connections. As the temperature drops and we near winter, it means the hockey season is approaching. To kick off the season, both the men's and women's teams sat down with the media to talk about the upcoming season. Starting off with the men, the Lakers come off a season in which they went 19-7-2, reached the SUNYAC final as the number 2 overall seed, and received an at-large bid into the Division III NCAA tournament. Coming into this season, the team still has more to achieve, and expectations are high.
Make no mistake about it. Our goal is to win the SUNYAC, regular season, to position ourselves for a playoff run in trying to win the SUNYAC. So,
Aaron, what did you think of what Coach Gosick had to say there?
What Coach Gosick said there was, this is a team, they're looking to improve upon last year. They had a strong, foundation to build on. You look at the SUNYAC, this is a very competitive conference. And there are a lot of teams who feel like they can go out and they can win this thing. You look at the SUNYAC preseason poll, Oswego was second behind conference champion, defending conference champion, Geneseo Knights. 63 votes in total there for the Knights, only 57 for the Lakers. That's only 6 behind. This is a very mature and experienced Laker team. They have 14 seniors. All of them made an NCAA appearance last year. All of them made a SUNYAC tournament appearance last year. They have the talent and they have the experience to go out and win this thing. One thing, though, that I found interesting that Coach Gosick mentioned in the press conference, they kind of switched around goalies last year between Richer and Hansen. This year, Gosick, he's saying he's only going to go with one goalie after the exhibition matches. That's a really interesting point to make there, to go with one guy throughout the entire season.
Yeah, well, you're trying to find some consistency on the team. You look at Richer and Cedric Hansen. Their numbers were a little bit different. Cedric Hansen actually had a better goals against average and a better save percentage than Richer did. But Richer played in more games. He had a great season the year before. But, honestly, it was a little disappointing for the team. Richer let in some goals that he definitely didn't think he should have let in. So it'll be interesting to see as we get through these exhibition games to see how much faith Coach Gosick really has in David Richer.
Now switching to the women's side of things, as the women's team also participated in the annual media day. The women are coming off a season in which they went 10-13-3 overall and 5-9-2 in the new HL. The season ended in rather disappointing fashion, losing in the road in the new HL playoffs to arch rival Plattsburgh by a score of 7-1. Coming into this season, the team looks to grow throughout the year.
But again, as Coach talked about, we're really not looking at wins and losses right off the bat. We're looking at how do we get better? How do we get the message across? How do we grow as a team? How do we get better in the process? You have to fall in love with the process of getting better, and that's what we hope for this team.
So, Brian, how can the Lakers improve off of last season?
Well, you know what? They talked a lot about growth in this press conference and where they want to go. And they have a pretty solid core of senior leadership. You talk about Kate Randazzo and Giglio at the top in the captain's position. They have experience in that position. So that's what you really want to look for with this team, is senior leadership. That's how they're going to get it done. You know, this is a team, they played relatively well last year, but at the end of the day, you know that Plattsburgh, one of the top teams in Division III women's hockey, is sitting there in your conference. You got to play them multiple times a year. They go on the road for 2 against Plattsburgh in just their second weekend of the season. So that's a tough start. And Coach knows that. She knows that this team is going to have to build throughout the season. It may be a little bit of a rough start, but the biggest thing, and I love this from Coach Dillon, is what she said about growth throughout the season. It doesn't matter about wins and losses. You know, you're going to have ups and downs throughout the season. It's about growing together as a team and getting better. And like she said, being committed to that process.
They can be better. And I think they will be better. You know, they brought in Coach Digby, like you said before. The new HL also, they brought in 2 new teams this year in Canton and Morrisville. You don't know how they're going to react to the new HL. They might be getting their feet wet and set. The Lakers could snag a couple of easy wins there. They have a lot of senior leadership. They have a lot more experience coming into this year. I think they can definitely improve on a 5-9-2 conference record last season.
Absolutely, and you talk about goalies. We talked about it with the men, but Rachel Farmer in goal for this Oswego team. She was great. She transferred in from Cortland last year. She's going to be a big part of what this Laker team wants to do. If they're going to be good, it has to start from the back. You got to keep opponents at bay on the offensive side.
Excited for hockey season in Oswego. Coming up after the break, our moderator Andy Giatti joins us for Laker Showdown. Andy, what are we talking about tonight?
Thanks, Aaron. Coming up after the break is the first Lakers Showdown of the season, where we will discuss the future of men's hockey team. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Laker Connection on WTOP 10. Hello, and welcome back to Laker Connections. I'm Andy Guidi, and this is Laker Showdown. I will be asking Aaron and Brian 3 questions about Laker sports, and they will have a minute and a half to debate. At the end of each debate, I will decide who wins, and the winner will be awarded 1 point. Guys, are you ready?
Absolutely.
I'm undefeated in Laker Showdown.
Oh, please.
So
You're
I'm
one.
ready to go.
You played. You've done
listen,
one.
No one's beaten me yet, man. Let's do this thing.
All right, whatever.
Last season, the Oswego State men's soccer team got off to a fast start in non-conference play, going 3-2-1 in their first 6 games. That momentum came to a sudden stop once SUNYAC play began, as the Lakers finished their season with a losing record for the 10th consecutive time. Will this be the year the Lakers make a SUNYAC run, or is it yet another meltdown brewing on the shores of Lake Ontario?
This is a playoff caliber team. They have been so good this year, and it starts in the defense. We talked about it multiple times on tonight's episode. Tara and this defense has been phenomenal. Right now, they're 2-0-1 to start SUNYAC play, which shows you that they're not going off to that losing streak that they kicked off SUNYAC play with last year. This is just a different team. It starts in the defense. Brian Tara's won 3 SUNYAC Defensive Player of the Weeks. This defense has been phenomenal all year. There's absolutely a reason why this team is going to make the playoffs. They still have to play Plattsburgh, Potsdam, Fredonia, and Buff State after this weekend. Those are all winnable games. Even if they lose to Oneonta this weekend, that's still, not that they're going to, not that I think they're going to, but against New Paltz, that's a winnable game. The rest of those games are all winnable. This is a team that can absolutely
All right, here's
win.
the deal. Producers are telling me you got 45 seconds. Let me tell you something right now. How many times are we going to sit here in the fall and say, this is the year, Dan Cain's going to bring him to the SUNYAC playoffs? They're not. They're not better than Buffalo. They're not better than New Paltz. And they're not better than Oneonta.
This is a different team.
They do this
This is a
every
different team.
year. They come in, they win a couple of games to start the year. They win a couple of conference games
Their
to start the
scoring's
year.
up, their
Let me tell you
defense is
something,
up.
Andy. Let me tell you something, Andy. They 5-21-1 the past 3 seasons in the conference. You really think that's
know
a good
what?
record?
This is a
that good
different
record?
team.
No, absolutely not. I don't care how well Brian Terry's
Goals
been
per
playing.
game is up. Goals
Oh.
against average is down.
5-21-1.
This team is better. This team is different.
It's all right, guys. I'm gonna have to give the point to Brian.
Thank you.
I look at faithful in the team. I think we're cutting the team a little bit of slack. I've seen them play in person. They look pretty good. So, I feel like they're gonna make a run this year. I think this is the year. All right. History may be upon the Lakers volleyball team as Lauren Fye is inching closer to putting her name on top of the record books. With 9 games remaining in the season, the senior middle blocker currently has a hitting percentage of .331, good for third in the SUNYAC. The Oswego State record is .371, set by Aaron Hanlon in 2002. Will Fye be the record holder at the end of the season?
As Russell Westbrook once said when he signed his contract extension with OKC, why not? Why
really?
can't Lauren Fye do this? She's on the court constantly, always moving around, always interacting with her teammates. She needs 100 kills to qualify. She's at 132. Her percentage right now is 3.31. Oswego's got a couple of easy games coming up. I think this is a shoo-in for Lauren Fye. She's been great so far this season on a very good Lakers volleyball team.
Look, I'm going to say no, and not because she doesn't have the talent, but because she does, and teams know that. You watch these games over the weekend, teams are aware of her presence. She's huge for
But
this Lakers
she's
squad.
always
They
on the
are
court.
doubling her.
She's
4
never
hands
taking,
in her face every
she's
time she tries to
never
go in
not
for a
on
kill.
the court, Brian.
There are hands in her face.
132.
You watch just from this weekend.
132 kills, Brian.
In the New Paltz game,
132.
0.91 hit percentage.
You're telling
Against
me this
Oneonta,
weekend she's not gonna
294.
improve against Plattsburgh?
176 against Nazareth. Even in games where this team succeeds, she has not been getting the hitting percentage up. It's just right now everything's trending down, and I believe it's not because she's not talented enough. She is by far, but because teams are aware of her presence. That's what it is to me. Is that teams are aware of what she's doing.
Plattsburgh
teams are doubling her.
hasn't won a set in SUNYAC
They
play
have
this
to
year.
play more teams than just Plattsburgh.
You don't think she's
They have to
improving
play
upon
other
that this
teams
weekend
against
against Plattsburgh
Plattsburgh.
and Potsdam? Lauren Fye's
Look,
got
I
this.
just
Go
don't
get
think
it.
it's
Go
going
get
to
it,
go
Lauren
up
Fye.
enough.
Go
I
get
just
it.
don't think it's going to go up enough.
So I'm gonna give the point to Erin on this one. I think Fye is right there. She's a really good player. I don't see any reason why she can't break the record this season. She's right on the cusp. The Oswego State men's hockey team is looking to make its push for a SUNYAC title, something that hasn't been won in Oswego since 2014. With 14 seniors graduating at the end of the season, is the Lakers' window closing to win a SUNYAC title?
I'm going to go with no. This is a good Lakers program, and yeah, they're losing a lot of seniors. But guess what? They're keeping Travis Broman, Carter Allen, they're keeping Antonucci, Tanner Spink is staying, Max Novisk is staying. Yes, they're losing their goalies. You can see the seniors that that are leaving this year. But look, they still have good players that are going to stick around. And guess what? This is a good program. Coach Gosick is a really good coach. And this team, this program is known. They recruit really well, and you can see that in the recruitment of Jeff Solo last year. He transferred from a Division I program. That just shows me that this is a program that people want to play for. There's no doubt in my mind that this team will still be competitive and that they can still win. Because guess
Brian,
what? Yes,
Brian, I gotta
Oswego's
stop you right
leading
there.
getting
I'm
rid
gonna
of
go.
seniors,
Yeah, I'm
but so are
gonna
other
go.
teams.
The window's closing for a minute, for just a soft minute.
For a minute,
14,
okay.
14 seniors is a lot. 14 people to replace is a lot. You don't know how transfers are going to gel. You don't know how freshmen are going to gel. You don't know how the whole team's
But they
going to
still
gel.
have big
And you
pieces
don't know what
staying.
those freshmen are going to develop
Travis
into. Also,
Broman, Tanner
both
Spink,
of their
huge.
goalies
Mac
gone.
Novick, huge.
Hansen,
We haven't
Cedric
seen
Hansen,
Kazakowski. We
Richey,
don't know. He may be
gone.
better than both of them.
gone. That's a lot of
Kazakowski may
development.
play better
This
than
is
both
going to be a
David
very
Richey and
top-heavy
Cedric
team
Hansen.
next year with Travis Broman and Tanner Spink.
They can still do it.
I-
There is no doubt
I
in my
don't know.
mind that this team can still be good enough in the years to come. Next year, they're still going to be competitive. Ed
But you
Kozik
don't know
is a
what the
great
recruitment class
coach.
is going to be.
But it may be great, it may be bad, we don't know.
But
This
if
team
it's bad,
still
then the
has the
window's
pieces,
closed.
and they can still build.
Guys, I'm gonna give the point to Brian. I know we have 14 seasons and 14 seniors, excuse me. But with 14 seniors comes a lot of experience. The underclassmen have a lot of people to, get pick knowledge from. I think the window's not going to close. The window's not going to close, guys.
Well, everyone, that's all the time we have for tonight, but make sure you tune in next week for all the latest news, highlights, and analysis for all things Lakers sports. For Andy Guillotine and Brian Rudman, I'm Aaron Valentino. Have a great night, everyone.
What happened to